Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about what it means to be a good villager, a person of the community, because everyone wants community. Everyone wants people that are going to look out for them, that are going to be there for them, that will show up when they really, really need it. But they don't really want to deal with what it takes to be a member of that community. Because it's not all puppies and rainbows. I promise you that. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, so listen, I've been a loner for a portion of my life because I just thought, well, it's too difficult to be a part of a community. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how everybody gets along so easily. It's so frustrating. People deal with this and they deal with that and they let it roll off their shoulders. When I say this and that, I mean there's conflict. There's issues, and it just seemed like people just got over it. I got all my friendship education, how to make friends, from TV. I'm a child of the 90s, and I saw on TV that they just kind of laughed it off. There was a brief bit of tension, but the TV shows that I watched, like Living Single, Martin, Fresh Prince, all those TV shows that had people with family dynamics or friendship dynamics, and there was some kind of conflict, and then they laughed it off, or something wacky happened, and then everything's back to normal. And I thought, well, that's how friendship should be. There's no real discussion with anything. This, like, if it wasn't egregious enough, even if it was egregious, they would resolve it. And if they didn't resolve it in a 30-minute episode, they did a 2-part series, So I had no idea what it looked like to be a person who shows up for people and who really hears their thoughts and really hears their feelings and creates that strong, supportive community. Because you know what? I had thought that if I did something that upset someone, then it was over. It was done. It was over. Even though on the TV shows they got along, that person wasn't just getting over it. They weren't just playing along. I was so confused by this. I didn't even know what I did wrong. Like, for example, when I was 12 years old, I had a friend who just out of nowhere, it seems like out of nowhere at that time, but out of nowhere, they were like, you know what? I don't want to be your friend anymore. Don't talk to me. Lose my number. You're awful. And I was like, what? What happened? I don't understand. And I took this information to my mom, raised by a single parent, and they just said, well, they don't want to be your friend. They don't want to be your friend. And I didn't know what to do with that. There was no way to fix it or understand what the problem was or anything like that. So I carried that with me into adulthood. I carried that all the way with me, and trying to create relationships with people. If they don't like you, then move away from them. And then even developed to something that was deeper, and it was an assumption that most people didn't like me, and you have to really try hard. You have to really try hard. So if you're carrying that with you, it might be hard for you to be a good villager, a person who is a part of the community, who shows up for other people and really listens to them. Because the key piece is not people pleasing, not giving more of yourself, doing things that are going to make them like you, or that you think are going to make them like you. The real key is having people really understand, appreciate, and accept you. And that requires some vulnerability. But also, on the same token, you have to understand, appreciate, and accept them too. And not just sweep things under the rug, but really hear their feelings. Really hear what's going on with them. So I'm going to share with you a couple of things that a good villager won't say, like things that they just won't do. I mean, let me be real with this though. Within the limits of who you are, like there's always boundaries. You don't overgive. But here's some examples of what a good villager doesn't say. They don't say things like, I don't have time. They don't say, I'll help when it suits me. They don't say, you owe me now, or they owe me now. It's like a victim mindset There's a victim mindset with that. They don't say, nobody ever does anything for me. Well, the problem with these statements, I don't have time now, is that it's really, 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 really important that you make time for the well-being of the people you care for. People always make time for things that are important to them. And if this person that you're talking to, your friend, someone who'd like to be your friend, is inconvenienced or they have a problem and they're looking for you to help them and you want to be close to them, find some time. That goes along with the next one too. I'll help when it suits me. Find some time. It's not taking advantage of them. It's not when you need something. It's the mindset of believing that the people that you want to be close to are important to you and you can make time for them. The benefit is not monetary. It's not something that is material. The benefit is that you get to help your friend. That's the benefit. That's when it suits you because you're invested in their well-being. And the other ones, two more, they owe me now. They owe me something. They owe me right now. They need to do something for me. If you're feeling like that, they're probably keeping score. Probably keeping score of what they did for you and what they didn't for you. And it just shouldn't be that way when you have a relationship with someone. When you have a close relationship with someone, you're feeling frustrated, to examine that relationship. The last one is nobody ever does anything for me. This one in particular, I think, is important to examine if you feel this way, because perhaps you may not be asking for help. You may be assuming that people know what problems, what issues that you might have. Maybe you're not open about those problems and you expect them to figure it out. I know from my people pleasing days that I don't really look to do things for people unless they ask. Unless they ask, or unless I notice and then I ask. You'll rarely find me seeing that someone has a problem and then going to try and solve it. They have to talk to me because I don't really know what the problem is. I don't really know what kind of help and support they need. So they need to tell me. We need to have a conversation about that. And if you're not communicating your needs, your wants, your desires, your hopes, your wishes to the people in your village, then they won't know. They won't know. So nobody ever does anything for me. I want you to check yourself and see if you feel safe talking to someone about your experiences, talking to someone about your needs, your wants, your desires, your hopes, your dreams. Because it's not fair to assume that people are just focused on you. All right? Now, so here's some things that a good villager will do. They will say, they will show up. So here are a few things. One, they give without keeping score. I mentioned that and something not to do, but give without keeping score is important because your well-being, your happiness, when you're looking at the person who you want to help, your happiness comes from supporting them. You're not looking for them to do a tit for tat. You're not looking for them to give back because guess what? If you pick the right person to be aligned with, they're going to feel the same way. They're going to give to you without keeping score because they wholeheartedly believe that your health and your well-being is a part of their health and their well-being and their happiness. A good villager also makes time for others. Make time for people. Make time for those things that are important to you. It goes hand in hand with what I just said. Good villager asks for and accepts help. They ask for and accept help. Now, this is vulnerability. It scares a lot of people. What if they don't help me? What if they can't? What if they say no? What if they don't want to? What if they make fun of me for the problem that I have? All my life, I've been told that I need to just figure it out myself. What if I don't think I can tell anybody anything? Well, guess what? You're not going to be a good villager, because people aren't going around trying to read your mind. They have their own thoughts and their own feelings and their focuses. They rely on you to show up and ask for the support and help that you need. It's only then that they may turn around and they may say, hey, I've got you. I've got you. So it's up to you. Another thing a good villager does is sets boundaries, healthy boundaries, instead of building walls. So what that means is that it's particularly useful when it comes to conflicts, okay? Conflicts when you're reaching a point where you're feeling overwhelmed or frustrated, you're disappointed in somebody's actions, their behaviors. Instead of just shutting them off, instead of just closing it down and saying, look, I just don't want to deal with you. I'm never going to talk to you again, or I'm not going to talk to you about this thing. You give it an opportunity to set boundaries with them. So let's say somebody was supposed to show up for you at an event. They were supposed to show up and they didn't show up at all. You said you're going to meet at this time and they didn't show up. Or they were going to text you back and they didn't text you back for a few days. And it was really important to you, right? And you're frustrated, you're disappointed, you're upset. Instead of writing that person off, have a conversation with them about what happened, what you feel needs, what you need, and what you'd like your relationship to look like going forward. So some people maybe aren't available, and some people in your village probably just aren't available for some of the deeper, more important topics. Maybe they're not the right person to talk to about money. They're not the right person to talk to you about romantic relationships. They're not the right person for these things, but they may want to give you advice. They might want to share things with you that you don't want. Set a boundary with them instead of maybe talking behind their back, instead of telling them that or telling them off. Instead, you're going to set a healthy boundary. Say, listen, I appreciate you trying to help me in this situation, but I don't want your advice, or I didn't ask for your advice, or, I'd like to talk to someone else about this. That's all you have to do. You don't cut them out of your life, because they may be there for you for other things. They may be a great person to talk to about movies with. They might be a great person to talk to about other interests that you have, right? So you don't just want to say all or nothing, I'm going to cut you off. Another thing that a good villager does is they engage with their community. And what I mean by that is that they actually reach out and they talk and they make an effort. They don't wait for somebody to tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, do you want to hang out? Or what's going on with you? How are you feeling? What's your life like? They don't wait for that. They volunteer this information because they know that the people in their village also want to know. They also want to know. So they open up and they share and they're honest. They talk to their community. So if you want to build these strong, beautiful relationships with people, not just 2 or 3 people, but if you want to handle more people in your life, you want maybe 10 people. And I'm not talking about 10 deep, close relationships, but just managing your time spent with people who care about you, and people care for you as deeply as they can for themselves. So remember that. If they don't care or know that much about themselves, they're not going to be able to care or know that much about you. They're just not going to be able to. And that's one of the really great skills that you need when it comes to discerning who is going to be close to you and who isn't going to be close to you. Hey, Patterns of Possibility fam, I want to thank you so much for all of your positive feedback for the Supportive Connections course. The outpouring is just ridiculous. If you haven't heard about this, I dropped it a couple of months ago on my website, patternsofpossibility.com. Just click resources to get instant access to the free supportive connections course. You're going to learn exactly what you need to create healthy, supportive relationships. Because a lot of us, if you grew up in a household which you didn't see healthy connections, you were trying to figure it out all by yourself, you might not know what it looks like to be in a healthy relationship. This is for you if you find it difficult to communicate your own needs, or you feel like you always have unmet expectations in your relationships. If you struggle to recognize toxic behaviors, or you keep tolerating disrespect, manipulation, or control, this is for you. And it's free. Go to patternsofpossibility.com, click on resources, and get instant access to this free supportive connections course today. Now let's do the listener letters. If you have a question about your family, friends, business, coworkers, anything that goes on with your relationships, you can write me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com. Okay, so this person says, I don't think I have a single friend that is also autistic. I feel like I repel autistic people. How do I make autistic friends? I often feel overwhelmed and lonely around people because I only attract neurotypical people, and I feel like I always have to mask. I've tried connecting with other autistic people, especially women, and this person's a female who's writing in, a woman who's writing in, and I feel like I'm not as liked compared to when I'm with neurotypical people. This sucks because I'm often in friendships where it's very one-sided and they like me more than I like them because I can't be myself. I genuinely don't know what it is. I just want autistic pals. My only other autistic friend is my boyfriend, and we were best friends before we started dating. So I really think this is interesting because this person says that they only attract neurotypical people, and they feel like they're not as light compared to when they're with neurotypical people. When they're with autistic people, it seems like autistic people don't like them even though they're autistic, and that's quite a feeling. That's quite that's something that's interesting. So what I would say is that, it's kind of hard to break out of these patterns that we've already been in for such a long time. Like, you're so used to masking and being around neurotypical people, attracting neurotypical people, that maybe it's hard for you to read autistic people. It could be you're used to performing for the neurotypical people, but then when autistic people express their like and their desire and their fun to hang out with you, what fun it is to hang out with you and stuff, you're like, this doesn't look like what I normally used to see, so I don't know if they're really being truthful. I don't know if they really like me or not, and I don't have any more detail about what situations were. If there was a story or something like that, that would have been very, very helpful for me to help understand, what's going on in those relationships that you read. Like, what are you reading from the autistic people that make you think that they don't like you? Because I tell you what, something about autistic people is that they're going to tell you. They'll tell you, like, I don't want to hang out with you, or they won't read into really much. They're going to bring it to the table and they're going to talk about it. And so perhaps it is something that you were just not used to having happen. Maybe the autistic people or the neurodivergent people that you hang out with don't laugh at the same things, or don't laugh the same way, or don't connect the same way. That's expected because they're autistic people, right? That's expected for them to be different. So reading the signs and knowing what it is that you're looking for from autistic people is great. It's a great start. But also don't forget that you can actually just say it. I don't think that you like me, I'm not sure. Or if you don't want to bring it out verbally, you can continue to watch for the patterns of behavior. They keep inviting you. you ask them and they show up and you talk and you have a good conversation, that's a really great sign that they actually like you and they actually want to hang out with you. They're actually interested. When you say your friendships are one-sided because they like you more than you like them, than the neurotypical people, they like you more than you like them, I want you to think about this kind of relationship that you keep creating. Because it's nice to be liked. It really is. But it kind of screams a bit of insecurity. Like, I'm not sure if people really will like me if I show up authentically or if I talk to the people I really want to. I'm not sure if they'll like me the way I want to be liked. And it's always better for us, it always feels better for us to be the one to reject. I can reject these people because they like me more than I like them. I feel like I am better. I feel like I have more. I feel like I can have options. But at the end of the day, it's not what you want. So I want to encourage you to recognize when you see those relationships forming with the neurotypical people and you realize you start liking them or they start liking you more than you like them. I want you to recognize that that's happening and try to move yourself to a different place with more neurodivergent people. Talk to them and get over this feeling or face the feeling of the fact that you might be rejected by somebody that you actually want to talk to. Because that's hard, right? But you can do this. And finally, I appreciate you being a listener. If you got something of value out of this podcast, please share it with other people and leave a 5-star review on your favorite listening app. We'll see you next time. Take care.